This is a 2004 GMC Sierra. This is a common problem with this body style truck. Rockers are just, they're gone. They're gone. This is my neighbor's brother's truck. She's gonna use it for plowing for the next year or two. So I'm gonna fix this rust so that this will take an inspection sticker and last a couple more years. This side's not as bad, but almost. Stick my gloves up there. Whoa. And now for Mr. Good Wrench and the sockets. Look at this rusty thing. There's no shortage of videos on the internet of how to repair rot like this. But there's also a lot of comments from people mentioning, oh, why didn't you cut the rockers out and do it the right way? Reality, that's why. This is a 2004 truck. Tough shape. Of course, it's a plow truck too. It's had a blade on the front, and it goes out every time the weather's shitty, and when there's salt in the roads, that's when this thing's in action. So, why in the fuck would anybody spend $6,000 to repair a rotted out truck? Try to stay under a couple thousand and keep this thing on the road for another 2 or 3 more years to plow. And then it's just going to evaporate. The rust is going to take control and it's gone. So for those of you who don't know, I used to do body work way back in the day. I'm going to get back into it a little bit on this one from my neighbor because she needs a hand. To repair this truck, I bought panels from classic to current fabrication. These guys were great. They called me back after I placed my order online because I had ordered the wrong cab corner. So they corrected that, and here we are, parts. Of course, I don't need to be up this high, so maybe we trim this to the body line or somewhere. Not sure yet. Put that back on. This is the slip-on rocker pan. right? This is the highest point. Fits into this valley here. So I'm going to, it's a little bit too wide as you can see. So I'm going to take a little bit off the edges. Hang on to your pieces so they don't end up in a tire. Here again, just a little bit. And at an angle. See how it fits now. I think we're still going to be a little long at the tail. I could lose even more here. Could lose more up at the front. See, we could trim that back quite a bit. There's okay. That one probably could have been left alone. And that could be trimmed back. Modifications performed. Do we test fit again? How we looking back there? I gotta trim the end. See, a little too long. Let's see how we did this time. Still test fitting. Yeah, it's a long panel. All of this is plastic. This is metal. So the plastic is attached, affixed to the metal. Problem is,
Wish it's under it.
you can lift this stuff out.
Yep.
Water gets in, dirt gets in, everything gets in, and it accumulates in the back shelf. It rots all of that shit away. And you'd never know if you didn't peel them back. If you're going to buy one of these things, gotta be eyes open, daylight, use your head, get underneath, get on your back and get all the way underneath, go from one side to the other, front to back. These things are rusty, rusty, rusty buckets. So when you look at these, look for rust stains seeping out from underneath the plastic. like there. You could pretty much look in the wheel well here. Oh, there's a big hole right there. Ooh, padding, muckiness.
So it's still worth fixing.
Yes, but you know you have to be cost conscious and time conscious. So it's what in the old days we'd call a smack and hack job, because it's not a restoration, for Christ's sakes. It's not going into a museum, and you certainly would never, ever want to spend more than the truck is worth in good condition to get a rust buck it into good condition.
Why?
Because once they're rusty, they're always rusty. Everything is rusty. Just because the rocker panels here are gone, but the doors look nice.
So you're worried about the rust everywhere else?
Yeah,
You can't treat it so
the
it doesn't
frame.
rust
No, it's too late. The frame is scaly. Everything is scaly. It's all on the quick road to the boneyard. I'm going to begin by knocking some of the rust loose. I'm not really sure I want to do that. You want to see how much rust accumulates up in this cavity here? Watch this. I'm going to stick my hand up here. Geez, I should have got myself a bucket. It's what lives inside the rocker panels of these trucks. One little rot hole, and every piece of sand, every grain of sand that you drive over is subject to be thrown through that hole. All that moisture is thrown in there, and you end up with wet dirt packed into the metal. There's nothing that can happen other than corrosion. Bad design. Well, here we go. Here we go.
What made you start doing bodywork anyway?
I was sick of being covered in grease from changing engines in cars. Mark and I started working on cars, and
What, just to make money?
yeah,
Like, how'd you start all that?
needed to do something, so we I came up with the idea of M&H Performance, Mark and Harris. And
Is that before he went in the army?
oh yeah,
Like how old are you guys?
Mark was 16, I was 18.
Oh.
So M&H Performance was borneth, and froze our asses off in my parents' little drafty, shitty garage, barn-turned garage, with that kerosene heater that we had to get a permit for. We should have just bought a torpedo heater, and you know, Mark helped out when Mark was around to help out, and it was my thing. That's what I did every day. And people started bringing cars to me, and I ended up doing a lot of engine changes, a lot of small block Chevys, intake changes to go from a 2-barrel to a 4-barrel, get rid of the stock exhaust manifolds, put headers on, stiffer springs to lift the car up a little bit higher, and repairs, you know, brakes, oil changes, tune-ups, transmission changes, more engine changes, 6-cylinder to 8-cylinder.
How long did it take you to do that?
An engine change?
Yeah.
2 days. Usually 2 days. There were instances of yeah, usually 2 days. Yeah, half a day disassembling everything and yarding the engine out and dropping the other one in, and then you're reassembling everything. Test drive, all that happiness. But I got sick of being covered in grease. Grease all the time. It's in your hair, it's down your back, it's down your front, it's in your crack. Hair's got transmission fluid in it, and under your fingernails are all greasy because it's impossible to get everything clean, because nobody wore gloves back then. Not silly latex gloves. I got tired of it. And fell into Bodywork. And Les Hammond showed me a bunch of tricks, which made it fun, because, you know, there's jobs like this out there that do not warrant cutting these panels out, welding in new ones, making this truck all beautiful in that area, because the rest of the truck is rusting away as well. The only purpose of this repair is to get this truck by another 2 years of state inspections, so that it can plow for another 2 years and be used to the point where it's just no longer going to be feasible to put this vehicle on the road, because it will be too rusty to be safe. You'll have to worry about things breaking and things falling off, and it's there's a time to say enough is enough and turn it into a yard truck. And that's what this will become in another 2-3 years from now. So these jobs are nice, because normally a person... What would often happen back then is someone in this position back in the 80s when I was working on these would be fucked. What do? You gotta go buy a new vehicle. This thing's not even that old. It's 15 years old.
This is?
It's 15 years old.
Oh, it's older than I thought.
It's a 2004.
No, but it's older than I thought.
It's got 100,000 miles and it's a 2004. Our Suburban has 310,000 miles and it's a 1990. And it has none of this rust.
Well, they want you to keep buying them.
I know. Right. Newer is not better.
This isn't on purpose,
Newer
I'm
is
sure.
worse. Yeah, this is terrible.
They want you to buy another truck.
Terrible. Shame on you, General Motors.
Especially with
I know
all
what
they're
you're up
making.
to, but... Huh?
Especially when trucks and whatever sports cars all they're going to be making, they're going to want you to buy more trucks.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So it was nice to be
Planned
able.
obsolescence right there.
Yes, it was nice in a situation like this to be able to help a person, and maybe it pays my bills for a little bit, and helps me out, and I get to help them out, and they don't spend a fortune, and they get to drive their vehicle for a couple, 3 more years. And then you reassess the whole
Go for
vehicle,
any
and if the
vehicle.
frame isn't any worse, then
Especially these things are so damn expensive now. Most of them are financed.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
ridiculous.
Price out what one of these trucks costs these days. New, like a 2020 crew cab, 3/4 ton 4-wheel drive with all the options.
Better off to buy a Class C. If you want that kind of
I
luxury.
bet you're gonna be around $80,000. $80,000. Some people buy houses for that. What I am going to do is cut away the rusted metal, and I'm going to get up there with a water hose, rinse everything out well, and then I'm going to let it dry overnight in the garage with the wood stove going. My goal is to dry everything out, and then I will undercoat it before I put the replacement panel on. That should help this to last a little bit longer. You could just slap the panel on just the way it is, push this stuff out of the way, and screw the panel in place, and go get your sticker. But it's going to rot out within a year. Why not make it last a little bit longer? Nibbly, nibbly. I had to oil my tools, not in the spring action or pivot, but on the blades, so that they nibble better. You know, Klaus nibble better. Oh, now we can get somewhere. Now we are going to cut away all of this rust. Don't worry, I'm going to go higher than this. Little nibbles at a time. Nibble better. So I gave you the tip about the oil. They say, picture's worth 1,000 words. Said Barnacle Bill the sailor. Let's go look at the other side. The other side's worse. We'll clean the other side out outside. And look, it's a dirty oil drooler too. Now it's all rinsed out, both sides. I still have trimming to do on the other side, but that can come later. The important part was to get all of this rinsed out so that it can dry, so that I may undercoat inside before I put the patch panels on. Here is the source of our oil leak. Transmission lines have failed, rotted through. Right here. Probably right at that plastic clip. So those should be replaced immediately prior to use. We see here things are clean. Still drying. Parts, parts, parts. This one has been primed. This one is still bare metal. The cab corners are black primer. I'm just going to mist those lightly in gray after after I wipe them down with mineral spirits. And that's what a brush pile full of painted primed parts looks like. I needed help. I brought in some help. 55,000 BTUs of ready heater help. Stick your face in that, huh? Feel the heat? Oh! How you doing? Is it getting dry under there? Is it? It should be. Look, it's drying. It's drying nicely. By morning, I'll be in good shape to fit these panels and secure them. It's gonna be a rainy day tomorrow anyway. Good day to do that job. That's why I did my painting and prep work today, when I could utilize the dry weather. Look how dry. Look how dry we are now. No moisture. So I'm going to switch to the other side, put the heater on the other side, and dry the other side out too. Undercoating. This is the time you want coveralls or some crappy clothes, because inevitably as you're spraying above you, it's going to drip on you somewhere, no matter how careful you are. So what I want to do is spray some undercoating in the areas that we are not going to adhere to. And the same on the back of these panels. There's a section in the middle that I'm going to glue these two panels together. But of course then there's a rot hole here, so this part will be exposed and just be bare primer. I don't want that, so I'm going to spray undercoating in here on the back side of these panels in the areas where there won't be any adhesive applied. Still debating on whether I'm going to trim this off. I'd like to. That would get rid of this step and leave me a nice clean line along here, and it can minimize my intrusion into the paint of the door jamb. Here we really have no choice because of the bubbling of the paint and rust coming from the bottom. So while I could still keep it to the line, this stuff will need to be touched up. But I may go that way because we have strong metal here. I cut out the rotten part. And the rest of this is quite strong, although we have a pinhole right there. You can see it? So we want to cover that, and that's right on the edge. So I need to come up. I'm going to keep the lip on this one. Here we could probably stay, cut this step out and stay at the line. That's what we'll do. Cab corner, I'm going to trim, the patch comes to here. I'm going to trim it down right at this line. Remove this little mirrored adhesive panel. Reapply it after we install the replacement cab corner. My dilemma here is, you know, do you go obtain some nice gloss white to paint this part and only get into the textured finish here down to match your panel, the patch panel? You know what I mean? texture down here, paint up here. But you're only looking at this little corner is all you're gonna see. And again, how much time do you spend? How much materials do you buy? Just trying to get a sticker on it so it goes another couple of years. It's already got puking transmission lines because they're rotten. Other things will fail. Do you see the rust? You gotta get all this crap out of here if you want it to last any length of time. How's that look? Hey, nice, thorough coverage. Something the factory didn't do. Now we'll move on to the forward section. Remember, we're adhering to that bottom edge that's rusty. Screws and glues. Screws and glues, man. Screws and glues. Now I test fit the panel. There's going to be little bits to trim off, of course. And you have to realize that things will be sucked down into place with the screws and the adhesive. So again, you know, do we cut this off? Cut here? Remove this? I'm leaning towards yes. Would make this rear panel fit easier. Between the door and the patch panel. Here's my nibble line. I'm going to take that off because we don't need it. Gotta give your arm some exercise. Let's see how this fits now. Let me trim some of this so it fits here better. You have to remember, it's got to match the cab corner with a seam. And I have made a decision. What I'm going to do is cut here. We really don't need this step above the top. This is a hindrance because it's making the panel harder to align. So if I cut this off, so we end up with a seam along here, that I can seam seal and paint over, will go right up into this recessed area because it's sort of like a step. So cut here, more work for the hands, and then I can secure to the face. Everything lines up, seam seal the edges. It looks nice. I paint. Done. There's all kinds of crap on the face of this camera. Undercoating. Oh no. It looks like the lens is okay. The
housing is dusted. Yeah, I just got this camera. Knucklehead. I should have put it in a bag. Try to share this with everyone, so you know. This is why I use these Canons, because they're only 120, 150 bucks. These Canon Power Shots. This one's an ELF 180. Why is it an ELF? This is going to need some of my attention for a good cleaning. I'm just going to knock off some of the crap right now. Sorry. Sorry, Canon. Sorry, Canon. Back to the job. Test fitting again. Much easier to manage. Trim my end. See if that fits now. Looks good to me. Something we can start screwing together, but remember, I want to undercoat the back side of this panel where there won't be any adhesive. That's next. That's the panel turned inverted. Fitting the panel into position. I like how it's aligned front to rear. I want to put a screw in it to hold it into place, so we're going to use a little leverage here. Oh, this isn't a time for the battery to die. Come on. You gotta be kidding me. Fucking cordless junk. Well, that's discouraging. I was there. I got one screw in. So now we can see how things will fit. Here I'm going to trim the corner. I got to trim that off. So we test fit. You can see the bottom of the doors are starting to rot. Couple of years. 2-year truck. 2 more year truck. See how rusty this is? So I need to do 2 things here. I need to pull the panel tight against the truck and then push it up against the underside. So I'm going to accomplish that, I think, with 2 of these pieces of white ash. As such. Now I have to put a screw in here to hold this together, so I have to find someplace solid enough that'll take a screw. Take a screw and see what we get. That's a decent place to start. Excuse me while I shake out the shit out of my eyes. That's a good application for goggles. Maybe even a face shield. Glasses don't cut it. Okay, so we've got 2 screws in, right? We're keeping our distance along the panel fairly even. This edge. Oh, a couple more screws. And I'll be at a position where I'll be confident enough to say I could remove the panel, remove the screws, remove the panel, apply the adhesive, reinstall the panel on the screws, and let it cure. This section is too rusty underneath, so I'm going to make these clips, which I'll screw to the patch panel. And there's enough metal in the back I could fold up and around and then secure it to the back. I've installed 2 clips, and we still got a saggy part in the middle. So I'm going to put a third in to level that. And that should be all we need. Good there. Strong here. We're going to take that end up. Final install. Hey, bring my stick back. We'll tuck that up in there on the final gluing. I think now I can take this off and get the adhesive ready. I gotta make that other clip. I'm gonna paint the panel before I put it on. I know it delays installation of the panel because I have to wait another day for the paint to set up before I can handle it, and then put the adhesive on the back and stick the panel on, and call this side done. But right now I need to trim that cab corner to fit below the shiny trim. And once that is fitted, I will move to the left side, trim that panel out, and I can paint these things. I may spray this side today, just as a test. In this repair, I'm going to be adhering the panels with this product, Sure Bond SB190. I've never used it before. Came highly recommended, and it beats grinding, welding, and having to paint. Remember, this is a rust bucket. The goal is to do this cost effective to get it to pass inspection for a couple of more years so it can continue being a plow truck for a little while longer locally. I'm going to cut this panel here so that it will fit right below here, so it will be less obvious. So we don't need all of this. This portion is okay. That's still strong. It's just starting to get a little crispy at the bottom. So we're gonna go from this line down. The rest I will not use. You could laugh and I don't care. Hacksaw to get this started. So we have this edge, and there's no way I'm going to be able to transition around this edge with my shears in a nice smooth manner. So I'd rather
start this off. With some spectacles. I got a feeling this isn't the hacksaw I want either. I'm halfway through, but we're missing a tooth or two on the other blade, so a replacement will help me complete this part with some finesse, eh? Let's see if it fits. It might be a little bit high, which is good. I wanted a little room to trim, because I wasn't sure how this was going to fit. I have this to get rid of. We have some seam sealer to pick out too. I'll show you. This here is a caulking. So if I take the caulking away, I will get part of this replacement panel edging to fit right in here. So we'll have a nice tight fit. See this lip? This fits in there. So I have some material to work away. Now that I've cleaned out that seam, let's see how it fits. Let's see again. This lip here goes in the crack. Well, what do you think of that? I'd call that suitable. Now I have a bit of an overlap here. I may do something about that so we can tidy up the door edge. Don't really want that sticking out like that. It may involve trimming that lip off. This part. So we don't need it. So I could take that down to here. Let's do that. Here to there. Oh, more with the tin snips. Filming. Filming, you fraud. Filming. Can we see? Can we see? When we fit this cab corner, there's no way I'm ever going to get that lip over into that groove. So I'm going to cut this off so that I can make it flush here. Remember, we're going to bond this into place, so then I can clamp it. Maybe if there's enough material I can clamp it. Probably not. No, I have to trim this off. Now I have a nice fit. Bend that to there, and that'll be a nice fit. But look, I still have some trimming to do here because we have overhang. I need to trim this back a bit. I didn't like how much this sticks out. I'm going to trim some more of this corner off. Taking the panels off so I can paint the fronts and then adhere the backs. Put a black stripe on the bottom of this panel to hide the clips because they look horrible in white. It's too obvious. Match the cab corner once I fit the rocker in place and can see where this line is going to end up meeting the cab corner. Our battery is fully charged at 12.8 volts. That's all I could get out of it. I'm hoping to complete the right side today. That's how it'll look when I'm done. But I'm not done. I don't like the backing plate. The back behind the rocker is pretty crunchy, so I want to put a piece of metal inside. It may even be a couple, 3 patches. But I can adhere them inside, and that way the bottom of the rocker will have something to adhere to. That'll have a nice solid clean edge along the bottom instead of the rusted out mess that is there. A little more time, a little more work, but it'll make the repair last a little bit longer. I'm going to adhere the replacement cab corner with this adhesive sealant. So I'm going to take a Scotch-Brite pad, and a little piece. You want to scuff up. I'm going to scuff up where the patches are going to go. I've warmed the cab corner on the wood stove, so I am now prepared. I'm gonna pierce our seal, load the cartridge, and here we go. Here goes. Be careful not to get any of the adhesive above our repair line. Now we'll put the screw in, and that should hold it all in place while it dries. And I can move on to the other. I am satisfied with the cab corner. I'm going to move on to the rocker now. And that's it. I'm going to let the adhesive adhere and set up. And then I'll pull my boards out of the way, remove the screws, schmutz over the holes, and this side will be done. Nice. Yeah, that's what I was after. Throw the light underneath. We'll see what the backside looks like. There's going to be a little bit of filling to do there due to rust. We still have some holes in the back. I put this strip of metal in last minute so that the panel would have something to bite into, because this stuff was really just crunchy and it's in tough shape. So what do we do to seal the holes? You know, the proper way would have been a new backing plate, which would have been cutting all of these welds and separating this from the floor and putting a new piece in. You know, it's an extravagant repair. It's not worth it for this rusty truck. So short and expedient, cost effective. What do you do in this case? This is a good application for spray foam insulation. There's lots of holes. This is a huge cavity. I'm not going to look to fill the whole cavity, but it goes all the way back. All the way back. The first thing you want to do is lay out paper, because this stuff drips and it makes a mess. Here we go.
we go. I'm getting ready to spray some undercoating under here. Spray all of this. And, well, most of it. I'm not going to go too crazy. Care to take a look? And just what do you think we'll find underneath this plastic trim? If I were to be taking it off. Oh, it's easy, you say. It's just a few plastic rivets. Look closely. What's underneath that plastic trim? Follow that along the path. Oh, let me get you some light. Let's follow that along. And I'll stick you in the wheel well here. Oh, what's that? What's that? Oh my. My arm! Yeah, so we're not going to be taking any of these plastic rivets off because that's just really asking to open up a whole can of worms that, wow, you don't need. So we're going to do the most expedient, cost-effective repair to that hole as possible, understanding that this whole fender is rotted out under here. Under this plastic, it's gone. So the fender would have to be replaced. And then what do you get? Then you get a truck that looks like poo because you have a primered fender on here. Or you spend all kinds of money and you paint it the right color and you redo the pinstripes to match the other side and you blend it into this panel, and then you're into having these moldings off, and where does it end? It's a lot of money. So in this case, this is a truck that we're hoping to get a couple of years out of. 2 years. So quick and simple patches. Every time I touch this, like this camera's got issues now too. Lens isn't opening all the way. Every time I touch this rod hole, it gets worse. So this is all I'm going to do. Put some screen over it. And I'm going to spray undercoating / flex seal over it. A few coats and call it done. See how crunchy this side is. Looking in the mirror right now.
fitting panels now. They'll look under. Not as bad as the right side as far as the rocker panel goes. Cab corner is worse than the right side. Here's our corner, all painted. Here's our ever seal. Here we go. First plug. And there's the next plug. This one. There it goes. Stick that in the next hole. There we go. Get in there. Get in there. Don't drip on me. Yeah.
Shame you're working in that jacket.
It is.
That's a nice jacket.
This side's not as bad, but almost. Stick my gloves up there. Whoa.